Hello, happy Friday, and welcome back to another yoga video with me, Jessie. I'm going to be guiding you through about a 25 to 30 minute video that's going to be a pretty chill yoga practice. It's going to be a nice slow kind of flow for when you don't really have a lot of energy, because I know for myself I've been feeling pretty exhausted over the past couple weeks. And I've been hearing more and more that this is related to chronic stress, and we're sort of getting to the point with this pandemic situation where some of us are starting to really burn out from experiencing chronic elevated levels of things like cortisol, adrenaline, and norepinephrine, the main stress hormones. And those, of course, upset things like our digestive system, they upset our immunity, and they also have a big effect on sleep and energy. So not going to go into a whole science lesson about the stress and the anxiety, because we're all feeling it. You know what's happening because you can tell in your body, right? We're all experiencing those higher levels. So we're gonna bring those levels down a bit for sure with this practice, and it's just going to be nice and relaxed. Okay, so good for any level, beginner, intermediate, whatever. Morning or night, any time of day. We'll start in a seat, so preferably cross-legged if you can. If not, then feel free to sit in any position that feels good for you. A lot of this could probably be done from a chair if you wanted to. You could be sitting on an elevated surface. Maybe not a couch because it's pretty soft. Anyways, just taking the hands to the tops of the knees, either palms face down or palms face up, whatever feels nicer for your arms and shoulders. And just starting to ground down into the sit bones as you rise up through the crown of the head. Closing off the eyes if you didn't already. Feeling through your body and noticing if there's any little modifications you can make to how you're sitting to make yourself a little bit more comfortable. So maybe it's adjusting your seat a little bit, or whatever you need. Listen to your body. If you need a little stretch to the neck, if you need to roll your shoulders a little bit, if you need to lift your arms up over your head and take a big stretch that way, just honor whatever is coming up right now. Starting to notice your breath. So this is one really easy hack that you can use to lower stress. So when we're really stressed out, we tend to have a faster pace of breath, and that breath doesn't go quite as far into our body either. So the breath will mainly just fill up the chest, maybe a little bit deeper, but it won't be a full deep breath into the belly. When you're more relaxed, it's the opposite. The breath comes slowly, consistently, and it fills the whole torso, so right down to the belly. So think about watching a baby sleep is a really good example. Their little tummies rise and fall because they don't have anything to be stressed out about yet. So thinking about that baby, visualizing that relaxed breath, and trying to intentionally breathe right down into that belly space. You can even bring a hand to the belly if that feels good, so you can feel the expansion and contraction. Sitting up nice and tall as you're inhaling, and then you might contract down and sink a little as you exhale. And then continue to breathe deeper and add some arm movement. So inhaling, bring the arms up over the head. Exhale, arms come down through heart center. Inhale, arms lift up over the head. Exhale, lowering the hands down. We're just going to do this 3 more times. And as you finish off, just bringing your hands in towards the middle of your chest. And you can release the hands down to your legs. Inhale, bring the shoulders up towards the ears. Exhale them, and bring them back down and around. So taking a few circles with the shoulders, just sort of move the arms along with the shoulders, or at least I do tend to find that I can make bigger circles if I'm more exaggerated with how I move my arms as well, but you do what feels right for you and your shoulders. Last one, bringing them back and down, really sliding them down your back and then bringing them sort of together behind your chest. So the chest broadens, elbows move back as well. You can re-rest your hands and see how that feels for you. Just taking a couple breaths. And let's move into child's pose. So you can open the eyes gently and just bring yourself over into a child's pose. Knees come wide apart, big toes together, just touching, and then sitting back towards your heels. So your hips might be able to sit all the way back, they might not, that's okay. Just means that gravity is going to be helping you out a little bit more, so it might be a bit more of an intense pose for you. And then you're going to start to lower the chest down as you walk the hands away. So if you're a little bit more lifted in your pose, it's going to look a little bit more like this. You'll have a slightly more bent spine than somebody who's a little bit deeper into their child's pose. Resting the forehead down and focusing on lowering the chest down as you sit the hips back. So you're getting this nice lengthening happening through the whole of your spine. Should feel really nice. Then we'll take side bends from this position. Excuse me, sorry. I'm just gonna walk your hands, right hand first over to the right hand side of your mat. Left hand is gonna follow and just rest on top. Lowering the chest down, bringing the face down close to the mat. Once again, you can rest the forehead down if that's possible for you. So you'll be breathing a little bit more focused into the left-hand side of the body as your right-hand side is a bit pushed up against your leg right now. And walking across to the other side of the mat, slowly bringing the left hand over, lowering down once the right hand is in place on top. And again, we're breathing deeply, especially through the right hand side of the body. Big expansion through the rib cage, through the side obliques, lowering the forehead down to the floor. And then moving into the center of the mat, lowering the chest down one more time in child's pose. And let's glide forward into a nice Sphinx pose. So bringing the forearms down to support you, your upper body. Hips are going to be grounded down into the floor. Inhale, lifting the chest. Nice gentle back bend in Sphinx pose. Making sure you're not allowing yourself to really crunch and lower down. Inhale here. Exhale, you can pull the hands back. Inhale for Cobra pose. So stretching out the front of the body as you get a nice back bend. Keeping the elbows in and the shoulders back and down, and let's lower. So we'll lift on an inhale into cobra. Exhale, lower down, and we're just going to practice this a few times. So inhale, lift. Exhale, lower. Inhale, lift. So we're doing a little mini version of a push-up here as well with our arms, and our triceps will probably be feeling that a little bit, which is fine. Let's press up onto all fours here again, and tuck under your toes just for support on your knees as we walk forward into puppy pose. So if child's pose was quite difficult for you because your hips don't want to open up to sit back, this is a great one to practice because you keep your hips lifted while you lower the chest down. You do the exact same thing you do in child's pose, only you're keeping your hips right above your knees, or at least approximately. So lowering the chest as much as you can, you really open up through this sort of armpit chest connection area and the shoulders as well. Keeping them away from your ears as much as possible, neck in neutral. And then sweeping forward into Sphinx pose again. So that's a nice transition to move through. For me anyways. Hopefully you enjoy that type of thing as well, because we're going to practice another version of that. So we're actually going to practice a little flow I haven't done for a long time. Inhaling for cobra, exhaling for child's pose. Inhale, sweep forward and find cobra. Exhale, press back, lift the hips, and then send them towards the heels for child's pose. So we're going to continue to flow through this a couple of times. So really staying low as you sweep forward and coming into your cobra. As you reach the height of your cobra and your inhale, starting to exhale, lift the hips and sit back. One more time. Really working the arms and the chest with this little flow here. So sitting back one more time, having that little child's pose moment, and then let's walk forward just a tiny bit on the mat. We haven't even done cat-cow, so we're going to do that now. Inhale, drop the belly down, reach the chest forward as you lift the gaze, and then exhale, tucking under the pelvis, sending the spine high as you gaze back towards your legs, and then just repeating that cycle a few times. So make sure you keep the pattern of the breathing the same. As you drop the belly down, you want to inhale, expand. Exhale, contract as you lift. And then releasing your cat-cows from wherever you are here. And we're just going to sit back and sweep the legs around as you do so. So sort of move your feet around out to the side so you can bring your legs around in front of you. So sitting on your mat here, coming into a one leg forward fold, bringing the right leg in here first. And you can keep a nice bend through this extended leg if that's something that feels good for you. I personally find the forward folds like really pull in behind my knee if I try to keep my legs straight, especially if I'm still in the process of warming up, which I very much am at this point in my day. Still relatively early. And yeah, so you can keep a little bend in the knee to take that intensity off. So we want to be straight in terms of the hips facing over our extended leg. So you can practice sort of a turned and twisted forward fold as well, but we want to be practicing this straight on. So inhale to sit up super tall. inhale, preparing for it. Exhale to start to lower the belly, lower the chest. And so sometimes I see people like just bringing their face down to their knee. What you want to do is actually focus on bringing your face forward towards your foot. So it's not just a complete pancake downward motion for your forward fold. There's a bit of a forward momentum and then down. Taking a few breaths here. Maybe you can reach your foot or your ankle, or hands resting on your shin or on the mat. And you can play with pulsing the leg a little bit straighter if that's something that you want to work on today. Gaining that flexibility through the back of the leg. And sitting up to release that. You can bring that second leg in for a little cobbler pose forward fold here. So bringing the soles of the feet together. Legs are sort of in a butterfly position. That's what we used to call this as children. Cobbler pose is technically the name for it in yoga. Opening the soles of the feet out so that they face the ceiling. It's a good way to open up the hips that little bit extra before we fold. So to fold, of course, we're going to sit up tall on the inhale breath, and then leading with the chest. Exhale to lower. So again, not rounding through the upper back. We're not just trying to lower the nose or the head towards the floor or the feet. We are trying to lower the chest first. See how low it can go. So maintain the hold on the feet, and you might even use your knees or you might use your elbows on your knees to lower them down a little more, sort of a self-assist. So let's come to sit up here. Before we go into the second side of our forward fold, we're going to practice a little twist. So you might like to, if you have your feet in quite close to your hips like I do, you might want to just move them out a little bit. Make sure you're, still nice and grounded down, and then inhale, lift your arms up overhead, and exhale. So I'll twist towards the camera first, so towards the right. So left hand is going to come out to this opposite knee here, so to the right knee. Right hand is going to plant behind you. So these are going to be helpful. The back hand is going to help you sit up nice and tall, so you can see you kind of go from no support, maybe a little bit more rounded through the spine. I'm exaggerating, but then you get that support, you sit up nice and tall. Big inhale, and then exhale, using your left hand now to pull on your knee just slightly so that you can turn into a nice little twist here. Breathing still, so every inhale you can sit up taller, every exhale you can rotate a little bit more until you reach an edge where of course you cannot twist any further. And then releasing that, turning back towards the center. Inhale. Bring the arms up overhead. Exhale, turning to the other direction now. So just everything is opposite. Right hand comes to left, knee, left hand plants behind. Inhale. Sitting up super tall. Exhale, finding that deeper twist. Trying to keep the knees lowered down as well. And then releasing that and coming towards the front here. So right leg is going to extend out straight now, or almost straight. You can keep that bend in the knee just like we did on the other side. Left foot stays bent in. Just had a weird random pain in my hand there. Good times. So sitting up to prepare. Inhale. Exhale, you can start to again lead with the chest. Very important for all forward folds. Literally every single one of them, you want to be leading with the chest down towards the leg. Same thing, really, you can keep a bend in the knees in pretty much any forward fold as well if it helps you to make it a little bit less intense. You still obviously get a stretch, but it's a lot harder to push into that like pain threshold when you keep the knee bent. Still getting a large stretch through the hamstring, Even in the calf, I still feel it behind the knee a little bit, but not nearly as much as I would if I were to press that leg. See, yeah, that's not how you want to feel in your yoga practice. Maybe if you want to try doing like little pulses where you just have straightness for like a second and then you let it go again, that can be really helpful. I mean, so you could even, I'm just using my hand to demonstrate here, but you could actually do that if you wanted to, if that feels good. Or you can rest the hands again on the foot or shin, floor. Whatever you want to do, as long as you're leaning with your chest, not letting your shoulders come forward. And then release that, coming to sit up again here. Just taking both legs out straight now. And sitting up nice and tall. Inhale, lift the chest. Exhale. Coming forward, maybe knees are a little bit bent, maybe not. Holding this one for a couple of breaths, so being patient with your flexibility. So it's intense with one leg, it's super intense with both legs, so if you're not going quite as low, that's okay, no worries. Breathing, and maybe you want to try those leg pulses down again. If you have your knees bent, be very flexible through your legs. You may have no problem at all straightening them out. And sitting up, releasing that. Let's come on to our backs now for the last bit of this practice. So, rolling back onto the spine, bringing the knees in towards the chest. And we'll have a nice little rock from side to side here for a moment, because that's what my lower back is saying it needs at the moment. Good example of listening to your body when it wants something. And those forward folds that we just did like 4 in a row, they do tend to be very intense for the lower back as well as for the legs, but often the legs sort of take precedence because we feel it a lot more, but then the lower back can really feel it after. So this is a way to release the lower back, just letting it massage itself out basically against the mat, and then coming in, bringing the knees in towards the chest nice and tight. You might even cross your ankles and just hugging the knees in. If you do cross the ankles, make sure that you switch the cross, because it will kind of stretch the hips out in a slightly different way depending what leg is on top. And then releasing the feet to the floor. So you'll have your heels in close to your fingertips, so arms right alongside the body. So we're not quite ready for our Savasana yet. We got a couple more poses to do here. First one will be bridge. So again, counter stretching and releasing all of the forward folding. And the opposite of forward folds is back bends. We've actually had a nice balance between forward folds and back bends in this class, but we're gonna just do a final balance out and do some twists to really let everything release as much tension as possible. So for our bridge pose, you're going to focus your weight and your energy down into your feet, especially the heels. As you do that, you're going to notice you'll be able to lift your hips up quite easily, and you can see you really don't even need the rest of your feet besides your heels for this, but you can keep the rest of your feet down. As you start to lift higher, you'll notice your shoulders start to get a little bit pulled in a funny way against the floor. So what you'll like to do is lift and pull the shoulders in underneath. So that means bringing the elbows a little closer underneath the body. With the elbows closer, you'll be able to clasp the hands and interlace the fingers underneath. So main points of contact with the floor, your heels and your shoulders now. Try not to put a bunch of weight into your head and neck as much as possible. Keep it in the shoulders and in those heels of the feet. So pressing as high as you can. You can also press into the arms. You can activate those triceps and biceps against the floor as well. And let's release the hips down, and we'll roll from the top of the spine down. Okay? From here, you'll move the feet a little bit away from the hips so we can come into spinal twist, like I was saying. So for this spinal twist, we're going to have a couple of different ways of doing it. So I'm going to let you sort of decide how you would like to practice your twist today. So we're going to twist with both legs at once. So usually having the feet about hip width apart and with the heels a little ways away from your hips, a couple feet, is usually a good way to do these particular ones. So we'll get into the twist first, and then I'll have some adjustments that you can make as options. So first we'll twist towards the right hand side. So we're going to keep the shoulders planted down. You might take the arms out a little bit further away from the body as well here. And you can start to let the legs go over towards the right hand side, making sure the left hand shoulder stays down on the mat. So with any luck, you'll be able to release your legs sort of all the way over to this side. So I automatically shifted my knee over, the left knee over closer to my right knee to intensify the stretch. So that's the first modification that you can make, is moving that left leg so it lines up with your right leg. If that doesn't feel good for you, you can move the foot back into the place where it was, move the knee back, and that's a very nice gentle stretch. That's a great place to be. If you're already feeling a stretch there, stay there. If you need more, then you can align the knees, and you can even use your right hand to sort of track the knees down towards the floor. Get a little bit more of a stretch. Now, if you really want to get deep into your stretch here, then what you'll do is start to straighten out the legs. So you might need to adjust the placement of your hip a little bit so that you're comfortable with how your hip is situated on the floor. It's going to become very important as you straighten the legs out towards the side. So again, you can use your right hand to just sort of traction those legs in the right direction. And the left shoulder should still be planted down on the mat. If it's not, then you've gone too far, and you'll just need to go back and bend the knees back in. I think that's long enough for this twist on this side. Maybe one more breath just for anybody who's in this final variation and is enjoying it. Feels pretty good for my hip on the left, so it also it's great for the back, but also the hips. So bending the knees again if you're straight-legged. You also need quite a bit of space to be able to do that. And you can bring those knees back in towards the chest, and then release the feet down. So the same starting position. If you moved your hips over at all, you might need to realign back in the center of your mat. So back to a neutral position here, and you can slowly let the legs start to go over towards the left hand side now. So arms again just a ways away from the body. They don't need to be completely out in a T like for some twists that we do. This is a more sort of free twist, I suppose. So first variation is just to settle the legs where they fall. Second variation is to move the right leg and foot so you align the knees and have the legs together, and you might use your left hand to make that journey a little more possible for the right leg. From there, if you like, again, you might adjust your hip over towards the left a few inches before extending the legs out straight, and again, you can be helping and guiding with the left hand. Try to avoid grabbing right for your knee. Try to grab for just above the knee on the thigh, or alternatively on the calf, whatever is easier for you to reach. So your legs should be pretty much out straight from your hips. So you're in a kind of a wonky L shape right now, and make sure that right shoulder stays planted down. One more breath here, and then releasing. So bringing the knees back in, bending them, and coming in towards the chest one more time. So you can can do a little rock from side to side here, and if you want, you can reach for the outsides of the feet. Send the feet up towards the ceiling for a happy baby. Keep rocking if that feels good for you. Really opening up a lot through the hips and the lower back just at the end of this practice here. Last little chance for a nice massage for the back. So these sort of rocking or side to side poses mimic some aspects of Thai massage. Usually someone else will move your limbs for you, but this is a really good alternative when we're not necessarily able to get those deemed non-essential bodywork practices done. And then releasing the feet in towards the hips, continuing to hold them with your hands as you bring them in close towards your pelvis. Find a little stretch for the inner groins, and then we'll release the feet. And then one leg at a time, you can start to stretch out. So if you find you're a little bit off center on your mat, recenter yourself just so your whole body is grounded down into the mat. You can bring your hands to your belly, your chest, one on each, or you can rest them down alongside your body. A little break here in Savasana before you move on with whatever else your day is going to contain. Feeling your breath in your body now and noticing if it's naturally going and filling your belly, or if that's still something that you need to focus and concentrate on making happen. And your body doesn't know the difference. So whether you're breathing deeply from a true place of relaxation and being stress-free, or whether you are focusing your attention on making your breath go down into your belly, your body doesn't know the difference. And either way, it's going to trigger a relaxation response in terms of those hormones that I talked about at the start of the class. Some steady, slow breaths. And a further way that you can trick your body into reducing its stress levels is by elongating the exhales that you take. So making them, and this is important, longer than your inhale. So if you're taking quite short inhales, then it'll be easier to take longer exhales. But you start to elongate your inhale breath as well, then it can be like a game, a meditation game. So you breathe in, say for 3, out for 4. In for 4, out for 5, in for 6, out for 7, in for 8, out for 9, in for 10, out for 11, and then release. So that's one way of doing it, is to sort of count up, and you could take that more gradually as well, but I just wanted to do a quick example. You can also decide to just do a 5-second inhale consistently. Start from 6, next breath 7, next breath 8, in terms of your exhale, making the exhale longer and longer each time. So it's also a way to build up your lung capacity. And if you're breathing deeply on a regular basis, if you do come down with any symptoms of the virus, you'll know, because if you're deep breathing as a regular part of your day and suddenly you can't, you'll have a big red flag to go to your doctor and get tested. So, but hopefully we're good here in Manitoba now. Anyways, not gonna go on talk about the virus. Actually, it's probably a good time to end the video here. I'm sure that was probably a half an hour, if not maybe a little bit more. But I hope you enjoyed that practice. I hope that you're feeling nice and relaxed and loose after that. I know I certainly am. I can feel the stress and tension that just melted away into this mat here. So have a wonderful rest of your day. Truly have a wonderful weekend. The weather is going to be absolutely insane. It's supposed to be like 23 here, finally getting some of this warm weather that we've been craving. So stay safe, get out there, and yeah, just enjoy.